Call this meeting of the Davenport Community School Board or School District Board of Education meeting to order. Director Mayfield, would you please read the board priorities?
I would if I could, but my
That
voice
blue
is
thing right
giving
there,
out.
Clyde.
My voice is giving out. So.
Okay. Director Beck, would you please read them?
Sure. Yeah. All right, the board priorities. The Davenport School Board establishes the following priorities to ensure the academic success of all students, provide leadership and direction to improve the overall learning environment in our classrooms, schools, and district, including the health, safety, security, and happiness of students and staff, direct and support actions, programs, and activities which reduce the impacts of poverty on our students, their families, and our community. Our mission statement is to enhance each student's abilities by providing a quality education enriched by our diverse community, and our vision statement is education that challenges conventional thinking, prepares all students to compete in a global society, and inspires parents, students, staff, and community to answer the question, what if?
Thank you so much for reading both of them. We're going to change the agenda a little bit. President Johansson will be arriving, and he wanted to be a part of the recognition, so we'll slip that down until after he comes. But can we start with Lauren with the student board reports?
Last Saturday we had our homecoming and we actually won the football game, so yay. And then we've had a lot of colleges visiting with the seniors this week, like admissions counselors coming and talking about them. So those have been two big things around Central.
Thank you so much for doing that. We'll get back on track here now with President Johansson, and we can get to the recognition.
Did you call them before?
The meeting is to order. We're at student board reports.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Get your breath. You want to walk?
Where are you?
We're on recognition.
Oh, okay. Okay, I will. First, I want to apologize, though, for being late. That is unusual, and I would say it's mostly my responsibility the way things happen. So sorry to all of you for that. Yeah, we've got a couple of pieces of this recognition, and I'd like to turn it over to the superintendent to start, and then I've got a few words to say.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see all of you. On September 30th, we put out this news release that we're very, very proud of, that the Davenport Community School District receives the U.S. Department of Education's 2019 Green Ribbon School Sustainability Award. This was held at a ceremony on September 25th at the U.S. Department of Commerce in Washington, D.C. And it should be noted that the Davenport Community School District was among only 14 school districts nationwide to be honored with the 2019 Green Ribbon School Sustainability Award. We were nominated by the Iowa Department of Education, and this recognition was based on 3 categories. First among these criteria is the district's sustained commitment to reduce environmental impact costs, including facilities, grounds, energy, waste, water, and transportation operations. The district was also recognized for its efforts to improve the health and wellness of students and staff, including environmental health, nutrition, and fitness. Finally, the district was distinguished itself by providing effective, sustainable education, including robust environmental education that engages STEM, civic skills, and green pathways. So we're very proud of this award, and the president has a few individuals that he would like to recognize and bring forward and have a conversation with. So, Mr. President, the rest is yours.
All right, thank you very much. You know, this really is a big deal. And I think that when it was first presented to me, I thought, well, it's just another one of those things. But during a meeting that I had with Mr. Maloney about a totally different subject, he brought it up to me and said, hey, this is kind of a big deal, and maybe you should treat it like that. And it really was. You know, I pulled off these 5 pages that the U.S. Department of Education wrote about us. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says just a few little things. Davenport Schools has offered recycling in all school buildings since 1998. Tracking district-wide recycling showed that participating schools increased their recycling by 104% between 2016-17 school year and 17-18 school year. Yes. And it goes on and on, talking about things that, frankly, I didn't know that we do. Probably most board members had no idea that we did. And as I thought about all of this, there are some key elements that I wanted to highlight. In addition to highlighting some of the people that do this work every day and some of the technology that's used by the district and by our employees. And one of the things that was made really clear to me was, as I was talking with Debbie Marr about this, and I was commending her for what she had done, and she said, you know, it isn't just us. I said, well, what do you mean? She said, if the board hadn't directed those funds to be used in these areas, we wouldn't have all this. And I think I'll have her speak a little bit on what the savings are, but then as I thought about that, most of you are aware of the Save Penny. And the penny contributes about $15 million a year to our infrastructure. And we have another $5 million a year through some pebble levies. So in the district, we have about $20 million to spend, and the board directs all of those monies. What do we do? Do we build a new building? Do we redo a new bathroom? Do we put in geothermal? And several years ago, the board focused on geothermal. And geothermal, you may think it's right, you may think it's wrong, but what it does do is it reduces our general fund expenditures for energy. And that's a big deal. And that's really what this is about mostly. Another piece that I wanted to highlight is that our operations people have always valued MidAmerican as a valued partner. And it really is important. MidAmerican is key to doing a lot of things in the district and for the district. And it really is important that we have these relationships with our suppliers. And MidAmerican is just one of those that needs to be recognized in something like this. There are additional things that we will be doing. This is actually a once-in-a-lifetime award. This district can never receive this award again because we did receive it. Now, it's possible that we can have schools that could win the award, but we can't as a district. It's just part of the rules. So it is really significant. And as I thought about all this, and I thought, you know, it's fun to invent stuff. It really is. And our students get an opportunity through their education. They get an opportunity on some of these projects to learn things. Insulation. Insulation is a big deal when it comes to conserving energy with respect to heat. And at this point, I would like to call up Debbie Marr, Wendy Berg, Melissa Trimble, and if any of you are here, are they here? They're in the back. Well, come on, you got to come up to the microphone if you're going to speak. And then also, if Mike Maloney is here, I'd like Mike to come up as well. Mike, I'd like you to start, but I'd like you to give a little bit of flavor to all of this, and especially, you know, when you made those remarks to me and tried to let me understand how important it was, and I think letting the public know is really important. And then, Debbie, I'd like you to talk about the award. And actually, Wendy and Melissa, I mean, some of these fantastic things that we're doing, I don't even know about. They just happen. And we count on all of these great people to be doing all this great work every single day. I will tell you that I walked into Debbie's office one day. She wasn't there, but there's like monitors all around her desk. And I felt like she must be like the Wizard of Oz. And because she would select this room and be able to control the airflow, and this one and control the temperature. And it's pretty cool, some of the neat stuff that our district can do. And I think there are some additional things that we can do by working, again, specifically with MidAmerican, but I won't belabor that. Mike, would you mind saying a few words?
Well, we are honored to be among those three districts in Iowa who are Green Ribbon School districts. There are only a handful of Green Ribbon School districts in the nation. There are three pillars in the Green Ribbon Schools Award. The first one is energy and sustainability, and Mr. President, you've remarked quite a bit on that, and I'll ask Debbie to give you some facts and figures here in just a moment. The second pillar is that of student and staff wellness, health and well-being. The district has a very robust wellness program. Wendy Berg here with the HR department manages that, and it is much, much more significant than you may think. There is an employee portal. You can keep track of your wellness activities daily and get points, and you can even earn cash. And the third portal is connecting that energy and sustainability work that we do to the curriculum. And Melissa Trimble, who is also with us tonight, our science curriculum specialist, has been connecting the work that we do in energy and sustainability and water quality and other things directly to our curriculum standards for many years. That's just a part of the way we do business. And I'm particularly happy tonight to be able to present to you and to recognize the work of Debbie Marr, our energy management specialist, Melissa Trimble, our science curriculum specialist, and Wendy Berg, our HR generalist who runs the employee wellness program. They are typical of the quality of employees that this district has and the outstanding work that is done in each of those three pillars that I mentioned is what we had to demonstrate in order to be nominated for the award. And we have a very nice plaque from the U.S. Department of Education that we'll be presenting to the board this evening, and we'll be placing in a prominent place in this building to let everyone know about this award. Debbie, would you like to make a few remarks?
Good evening. I would just like to again say thank you, because this award, while it was presented this year, has been an ongoing work in progress. As you had mentioned, President Johansson, the geothermal that we have, nearly half of our schools have geothermal. The more that we can cut our costs in energy, the more money we have to spend in our classrooms, and that's so powerful. For us to be the lowest cost per square foot for energy for Iowa public schools that are reporting is huge. If we paid the average of what other schools in Iowa pay per square foot, we would increase our utility costs over $1 million per year. And that's a lot of extra money that those schools could be spending for their students as well. So it's a huge thing, and I'm very excited about it. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Wendy Berg, work in HR, and I came to the district. It'll be starting my 5th year right now and heading up the wellness program. It's been a learning experience for myself, but we've seen a lot of increase in employee participation over the years. Like Mike said, we have a very active portal that individuals can go in and track their health and fitness, what they eat during a day. There's challenges throughout the program, and you can earn money at the end of the year. And I think that's wonderful that the district is able to do that, and people are really excited about it. We're going through health screenings right now. So this week and next week, every morning, 6 a.m., I'll be there meeting with the company that does the health screenings. So they take biometric measurements and walk people through what their cholesterol, HDL is, and stuff like that. So I find it's been a very great program for the district, and I thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Melissa Trimble, and as Mike said, I'm the curriculum specialist for science, amongst other jobs. But I have been here for going on 8 years now, and it is always wonderful to see overlaps between our science standards that we are doing K-12, as well as some of our facility pieces that come into play as well. I'm happy to also see it outreach to environmental clubs at our high schools with the things like the rain gardens out at North High School and all of the other activities going on, as well as being able to offer some place-based learning opportunities. All of our 6th graders focus on the Mississippi watershed as part of the curriculum, and they get to do some water testing when the river's cooperating and not flooding. We get them on site to be able to do those types of things. So it's wonderful to have the support beyond what I do with science standards to be able to have those kind of experiences tied together. So thank you.
Excuse me, I'm going to actually open this up in a couple of minutes. It's a little unusual, but this is an unusual opportunity that we have to highlight some of the great things that you all are doing. And I'm sure there are additional people involved. I was thinking about our legislators. And I don't remember how many years ago that it was that they formed the Save Penny, Before that, it was the local option sales tax, I believe. And we had a lot of funding that was based on that. And for a number of reasons, our district supported the move to go to the statewide penny. It actually decreased the amount of money that the district got, but it increased the amount of money that public schools got. And so that was a big deal. One of the things that Debbie also indicated to me while we were talking was that she is a real altruistic kind of person. And she was so excited about, she can't hardly wait to share this information with other districts in the state. There are other districts that don't have our resources. And I want to just read the first sentence of this paper that came from the DOE. First sentence says, Iowa Davenport Community School District, Iowa, a utility benchmarking behemoth. And then it talks about we use utility manager software, 2 benchmarking tools to monitor natural gas, electric, water consumption, Energy Star Portfolio Manager beginning in 2000. And it goes on and on. And again, most of those things I never knew about. But the people that are using it, they know what we need. And they're helping our whole district. And probably more important is they're helping our students. And that's one of the things that, as a board, we're trying to focus when you're figuring out what to spend money on. Well, you're going to spend it on this or that. And you're always trying to think about the students. And this type of education, I think, is just key. I have every confidence in our young people that they are going to come up with some fantastic ideas. And in energy, they'll come up with something that's radical. It's going to be wild and crazy. And who knows, it might convert water into gasoline or who knows what. But seriously, energy it's a huge issue for all of us. And we're all linked together. This is a worldwide issue. It isn't just Davenport. It isn't just Iowa. It's all of us. And so helping our students to be aware of it through the classes, through the things that were mentioned, and they get an idea and they go, that is important. Maybe, and they'll do things in science fairs or whatever, and something will happen. Anyway, I could probably talk all night about this, as excited as I am, but I won't. But being this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, I would like to open it up if the board has any questions. Director DeSalvo.
Well, I don't really have questions, but I would like to congratulate all of you and everyone in this district, students, staff, everybody who makes a difference every day. Our buildings are old, and to say that we are paying the least amount per square foot for energy says a lot. That's tremendous, the work that we've done to make these old buildings run efficiently. So to me, that's huge. And there's so much that it impacts not only our students, so we're saving money on our energy utility bills that can go back in to help us get more textbooks and teachers, but the carbon footprint. All of you will understand that someday. I have a student at the University of Iowa who is wild about saving the planet, and that carbon footprint is huge that we're saving. We are not dirtying the air with running coal-fired plants because we don't have to, because we're getting our energy in other sources. So that's huge to all of you, not only as a student and what we can get you in the classroom, but in your futures. So this is really big. So we can not only educate you, but we can help you in the long run too. And then the health and wellness, I think that's huge for our staff. That's so important to keep staff healthy. We need them here. We don't want them calling in sick. We want to make sure that they're taking care of themselves. And this shows our staff that we do care. It's a simple, easy thing to do, but it also shows them we care about their wellness and their well-being. And we want them to be here every day and to help make us a better district. So that's a big thing. I'm very proud. This is huge. We're one of 12 schools in the country. That's a really, really big deal. And I'm so sick that we have no media here to pick up on this really good stuff, because this is a really, really big deal. And I hope that this gets out there, because we should all be incredibly proud of what we're accomplishing every day by turning off the lights and by making our buildings efficient. So thank you. Thanks to everybody for making this possible. I'm incredibly proud of the work you've done.
I neglected earlier to introduce Derek Hoffer, our MidAmerican account rep, who is in the audience. And Derek, if you would stand, please. President Johansson mentioned that this is a large team, and MidAmerican is part of our team, and there are a whole bunch of people besides myself, Debbie, Wendy, and Melissa who make all of this happen, and we're very proud of all of them.
Thank you. Director Beck.
This is fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. And I know that the curricular part of it is working, because I have a 10-year-old who tells me things I should be doing every day. And I consider myself an educated person when it comes to environmental awareness, but he's always telling me new things that he's learned at school. So fantastic. Congratulations. Keep up the good work. And we should make sure that everybody knows about this amazing, amazing award. And maybe we can put like a green little streamer in every school or something to remind everybody how awesome we are.
Very good. Director Potts.
I think the thing to be noted is this was a long-term process, that it started years ago. And any long-term process requires internal, sustained leadership. And that's what you brought to the plate. And without that, we wouldn't be sitting here, we wouldn't have a Green Award. Internal leadership makes a huge difference in the success of the things we do in the district. I also think it's great that our great friends at the Department of Ed are the ones that nominated us.
Anybody else? If not, I've just got a couple closing remarks. Director Hayes wants me to acknowledge that Director Gosa is on the phone. He's been calling in by phone, and he's out of town, but we have determined that it's appropriate and legal for him to participate by phone. You know, I would say that the situation of receiving the award and watching all these other people throughout the country. There were, I think you said 14 other or 13 other districts, and there were a number of schools, and the whole ceremony probably took, I don't know, a couple hours, 2.5 hours, something like that. But I'll tell you what, I got emotional during the ceremony. And I started thinking about what we can do to sustain it, as some of our board members have talked about. And at one point, we had a few minutes to talk with other recipients, and I told somebody about our priorities. And our priorities, I'm not going to read the whole thing. We read them at the beginning of every meeting, but the essence of the two, one is to provide leadership and direction to improve the overall learning environment in our classrooms, schools, and district, including health, safety, security, and happiness of students and staff. And the second one is direct and support actions, programs, and activities which reduce the impacts of poverty on our students, their families, and our community. And we've lived by those priorities for some years. And as I thought about it, and I was describing these priorities to some other people, and they said, so you look at things when you make decisions, you look at them through the prisms of these priorities. And I said, that's exactly right. And I visioned establishing the possibility, I haven't brought it up to the board yet, but I probably will shortly. But I visioned the possibility of establishing a third priority that in some manner highlighted energy. And it is because you understand this isn't just money. That's not what this is about. Director DeSalvo mentioned carbon. Director Potts mentioned sustainable leadership. And Director Beck, I apologize, I didn't write down what you had mentioned, but my mind is a little frazzled tonight. But anyway, it's something that I think may be important enough for the board to consider highlighting, because if it's highlighted, then the board will think about it in the future. They will look at things when we have these decisions on where we're going to spend the money. And maybe the decision falls down in the benefit of reducing energy costs. I don't know, but at least it could if we think that way. That's really about all I had to say. I would like to shake all of your hands and say thank you. And thank you for standing up here for so long. And you already have the student board reports. Okay. All right. So we'll move on to board reports. Are there any? Director DeSalvo.
I know we're going to talk about it in upcoming events, but I just want to remind everybody of a couple very important things that are happening in the next week. Wednesday evening, we will have our local legislators here in this room from Mary 5:30. She's not
5:30 to
5:30 to 7, hosted by Dr. Lane, and they will be here to field questions. So this is our opportunity as a community to visit really one-on-one with our legislators, to ask them questions about what they're doing up there in the Capitol, and what kind of laws are they looking at, and how are they going to fund education, and how are they going to help us with different challenges that we face every year. So this is your chance. So please come. The community is all welcome. And we have several legislators that have already said they will be here to participate. So this is your opportunity. So please come if you can. And then a week from today, we are hosting the candidates that are running for school board. Right now we have, well, they're not right now, but in total we have 14 that are running for 4 spots that will be open. Election day is Tuesday, November 5th. And so Monday, you'll have the opportunity to see those candidates in a forum. We will be asking them random questions. It's not going to be like a debate. We will ask them questions that are relevant to our district. So if you don't know these candidates, which many of us don't know, come hear their answers, understand what they're about, so you know when you go to the polls on Tuesday, November 5th, who you feel is the best candidate for these positions. So again, we're offering a lot of opportunities for the public to get involved. These are your opportunities. Please attend these events because these are really, really good chances for all of us to make a difference in our community and our schools. So thank you.
Director Beck.
I was just going to follow up on the comment on the forum for the school board candidates. You can submit questions. We will be collecting questions from the public to Mary's email, and I believe it is on the flyer in the back of the room, so I won't spell it out. But we are collecting questions, and I believe also there may be an opportunity for the public to submit questions at the beginning of the forum as well.
Thank you. Director Hayes.
I attended a few events over the last few weeks. On September 28th, I attended the Davenport Branch Fort number 4019, the NAACP Freedom Fund Banquet, where the theme for that was "When we fight, we win." On October 2nd, I attended the AEA banquet, and the speaker was Dr. Joe Sanafilippo, I want to say it was. He was very energetic and talked about some of the ways how we can build a person up. We had to partner off in this particular workshop, and he asked us to share a story, a good story about a person, and I selected Susan Downs. And it's basically when you do something good, when you talk about it, and it gets from person to person, that's more impact, makes that person feel good, rather than keeping those stories to yourself. So that's something that I would encourage the district to do in your buildings. If someone does something really good, pass it around to kind of build morale and make that person feel better. On October 3rd, I attended a workshop hosted by Reverend Dwight Ford and Grace City. The topic on that one was how to talk to kids about race in America. The facilitators were Mike and Emily Green, and there was some very enlightening information there at that workshop that discussed many relevant history issues that are not included in the current curriculum that's taught to our children today. A lot of times this history goes by the wayside, and young people never learn some of these things that are actually happened or that have happened in the past. And the last thing I attended was on October 5th, the branch number 4019 of the NAACP also sponsored a juvenile justice and jails community forum, which gave a lot of information about some of the things that were happening within the state. The speaker for that was Shayna Frizzell. She was took care of youth advocate programs, and it talked about a lot of things that happened to our children within the district and how that ties into the juvenile court system.
Thank you. Any other board reports? Director Beck.
I forgot to mention, several of us were actually able to attend the NAACP Freedom Fund Banquet, and 2 of our Davenport students did performances there, and they were both fantastic and really showcased the great things. One was a middle school student, one was a high school student, great things that our students are doing. So it was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to see some of our students in action.
Thank you very much. I just want to say I happen to be at the banquet also, and the NAACP has always been another valued partner to the district, and in so many ways. And they continue to support the district in so many ways as well, and help us all learn some of the things that Director Hayes just mentioned. So thank you all for mentioning all of that. Any other reports? All right. Oh, Director Hayes.
Okay, I forgot to mention one of the most important things. Director Mayfield and his wife were also recognized at that banquet, but he was unable to attend. But I just wanted to point that out, that they were recognized for the wonderful work that they've done in the community.
Thank you. All right, if there are no other board reports, we'll move on to communications. Director Potts, would you please read our upcoming events?
Yes. October 16th, Wednesday, 5:30 to 7, the Legislative Forum will be in the ASC Jim Hester Boardroom. See the flyer on the back table for more information. October 21st, Monday, from 5 to 7:30 is the School Board Candidate Forum in the School Board Room. This event's going to be broadcast live on KWQC Cozy D3 and live streamed on kwqc.com. The moderator is KWQC News anchor David Nelson. Once again, see the flyer on the back table for more information. October 28th, Monday at 6 p.m. is the regular school board meeting in the boardroom. November 4th, Monday at 5:30 is the Committee of the Whole meeting in the Jim Hester boardroom. November 5th, Tuesday, is Election Day. November 11th is Veterans Day. Schools are closed for the holiday. November 12th, Tuesday at 6 p.m. is a regular school board meeting in the Jim Hester boardroom. November 25th, 6 p.m. will be the annual organizational meeting of the school board in the Jim Hester boardroom.
Thank you very much. Next is open forum. And we have several requests for open forum. Open forum is a time for members of the community to give input at a board meeting regarding school district issues or concerns. Individuals who want to speak should fill out an open forum request and give it to the board secretary prior to open forum. The board will not act on any issue presented during open forum if it was not published as an agenda item. The Iowa Open Meetings Law prohibits action on any issue that is not on the agenda. The president will set the amount of time allowed for individuals to speak during open forum. The board asks that no charges or complaints be made against individual employees of the district or community during open forum. Remarks that reflect negatively on the character or motives of any person will be called out of order. I'm going to read through all of you that requested to participate in open forum. And when you come up, if you would come up to the microphone, give us your name and your address, and then you will have up to 2 minutes to tell us what's on your mind. So we'll start with Brenda Drews, Reverend Alan Schuler, Michael Guster, Reverend Dr. Melvin Grimes, Pastor Steve Perkins, Tracy Pommel, and I apologize if I've mispronounced your names, Carrie Graham, I think it's Malanika Shinkandi. I should know her name, but I'm pretty bad at pronunciations. and Rogers Kirk. So like about the first five. So Brenda, Reverend, huh? Oh, we did? Okay. Reverend Schuler, Michael Guster, and, oh, you said Reverend Grimes left. And Michael Guster. Why don't you come up in that order, and we'll continue on. So start with Brenda.
Good evening. I don't know if this is a curse or a blessing to be first, but I'm glad to be here. My name is Brenda Drews, and I reside at 716 West 61st Street here in Davenport, Iowa. I'm here this evening in support of the sale of Lincoln School to the not-for-profit organization TMBC, Together Making a Better Community. First of all, please allow me to commend you for your sincere commitment to making our community a much better community. The sale of Lincoln School to TMBC will offer countless opportunities to our community, to our youth, to our families, and to our adult populations. It is my understanding that the Lincoln School will morph into a community resource housing organizations offering multifaceted educational services and other activities geared toward building stronger families and promoting expanded opportunities for our youth and adults. As a criminal defense attorney, as an attorney who also represents family and children in need of assistance, I also represent young people in juvenile delinquency actions. I can assure you that your actions will certainly decrease the number of people from our community in the criminal justice system and the juvenile justice system. But equally important, your investment in our community will make Davenport a better and a more fair place to live for all of our citizens. So again, I say thank you for all of your wisdom and your compassion in blessing our community. May God bless you.
Thank you, Brenda. Next is Reverend Alan Schuler.
Greetings to the Davenport School Board, to President Johansson. I'm Reverend Alan J. Schuler. I'm the pastor of Olivet Baptist Church located in Rock Island. It's 1115 21st Avenue. And my home address is 8 Timberwood Court, Moline, Illinois. And some would say, well, what that has to do with you on that side of the river? Well, I believe that we are family. And what affects us on this side also affects the other side of the river as well. After serving in the United States Army and being around the world, the opportunity to see your decision to make our community a better place strengthens us in so many different ways. And so I'm just here to say thank you for your decision to allow TMBC to purchase Lincoln School. My wife, her family, all went to Lincoln, Sutlow, and she graduated from Central. So when the school was up, she even mentioned, what are they going to do with the school? And so I've been able to serve with Pastor Kurt and Third Baptist now for the last 7 years and in many different forums. And I'm just here to say thank you. And in that, I believe that the TMBC initiative holds a vision that will allow and provide sustaining educational cooperative programs for both youth and adults that will empower our community for better and enrich our families to succeed in the 21st century and beyond. So again, to the board, I say thank you, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Schuler. Next is Michael Guster or Geister.
Good evening. My name is Michael Guster. I live at 115 Colony Drive here in Davenport. And I too come in support of the sale of Lincoln School to TMBC. I feel that with the community resources that TMBC is going to provide, it will definitely help curb our, or rather give our youth something to do. It will help to stymie some car thefts. It will give a sense of pride to our community, help us to give something that is really needed in a time when we don't really have a lot. Also, when we look at a narrow picture, we don't see the complete benefit. But if we look at a big picture and what the community can derive or get as a result of this sale, the success of children is tremendous. And so I just want to applaud this board for allowing TMBC to purchase the Lincoln School. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. I don't think I read the next few, but Pastor Steve Perkins, followed by Tracy Pommel, Carrie Graham, Melanika Shrikandi, and Rogers Kirk. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Pastor Steve Perkins. I'm the pastor of Bethel AME Church here in Davenport, Iowa, 323 West 11th Street. My home address is 5222 North Ripley Avenue. I have been blessed to serve Bethel now for a little over a year, and about 13 years ago, I was a transitional pastor. Had an opportunity to be engaged to Third Baptist Church and all that it has meant to our community, but particularly this particular initiative now. And I certainly want to thank this board for all that it is doing to help engage and enhance this community to TMBC, together making a community better. It is a wonderful thing to be able to partner with TMBC in a number of different ways to help with community support and development and its vision, its vitality that it will bring to engage, again, to engage and enhance the community with several resources, along with youth, along with young adults, along with seniors, along with a number of different other resources that will come from this particular center. I myself, growing up in Racine, Wisconsin, which I'm originally from, we had community centers that did a variety of different things to help myself and others grow up in that particular community of Racine. And now being here in the city of Davenport, where I serve the oldest African American church in the state of Iowa, this TMBC is probably going to be one of the greatest things that will not only engage this community, but help enhance this community along with the school board, along with other entities, the NAACP and other groups that through this city. So I want to certainly thank this particular aggregation of people, Dr. Robert, I won't try to pronounce that last name to butcher it, but the entire school board for what you have done for TMBC. And my hope and prayer is that it will continue to help to make this community better. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Perkins. Next is Tracy Pommel.
Rommel.
Rommel.
Yep, sorry.
Whoa,
I was writing it quick.
I missed that little tail there. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
All
I'm
right.
Tracy Rommel, and I live at 2732 Pioneer Court. And I am here speaking tonight on behalf of several West softball players and parents. And we are here in support of Coach Saladino as the West varsity softball coach. We are excited that he is on the consent agenda for tonight, and we're looking forward to, with his leadership, to make the West softball program strong again. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Tracy. Next is Carrie Graham.
Hello, my name is Carrie Graham. I live at 3606 North Marquette Street in Davenport. I have 3 kids at Davenport schools, a senior at North High School who is also doing dual grad, a sophomore at North High School, and then a 5th grader at Adams Elementary School. I am concerned about the prospect of changing from a block schedule back to the 7-period schedules. We'll start with my senior doing dual grad. We were very fortunate that she was accepted into this program. We're very happy that she will graduate from this program this year. And we went to a college visit today, so I rushed home to make sure that we could make the meeting. And I'm concerned that other students would not be able to do that easily, having 7 class periods. And so I would hate to see a program like that dissolve because, you know, when I looked at the dollar amounts today after we were talking, I mean, at minimum, we're going to save $40,000, our family. And for a family like us, that is a big deal. So I would love to see that continue for other families. And it may be us again, you know, since we have a 5th grader. My sophomore, not so much. And then for my sophomore child, when he has always struggled in school. And when he started at Williams, it went south fast. And the idea of him keeping track of 7 classes and managing all of that, he was definitely not prepared. And I have learned to use the portal and micromanage my child. And when he started at North last year with 4 classes, it was an unbelievable transformation. I took a kid who hated school and found a kid who didn't hate it so much. He made relationships with his teachers. He knew how to ask questions. And that would not happen if he was worried about what's the next class. How much homework do I have? Am I going to have time to get that homework done so I can turn it in? For kids like my Dominic, 7 classes is a huge struggle. And I plead with you to think about kids like Dominic and moms like me that work full-time and have 3 kids and have to micromanage to try to keep track of all that. So I really would like you to consider those struggling kids, and please leave the block schedule. We love it. We absolutely love it. So thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Next is Melanika. And Melanika, when you get up here, you're going to have to pronounce it properly.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
No.
President Johansson, I'm Malavika Shrikande.
Okay.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And I bring some good news. And I wish to share it because, firstly, let me introduce my daughter is a sophomore at Davenport Center.
Melanika, I hate to interrupt you, but I have to have your address, too.
I'm sorry.
I need
I'm
you.
so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm 10 Lombard Court, Davenport.
Right. Okay, thank you.
I'm so sorry about that. The 3 things that I bring to you today is, and I'm so glad that we have students here because I need to share this with students here. And I'm sure many of the schools are doing wonderful things, but I know what's happening at Central, so I bring Central good news. The first thing is there is an upcoming conference that the 2 students from Central are helping organize along with a few other students in Quad Cities, and it's called Raise Your Voice, Change the World. It's about racism. They're going to have lots of conversations with people, and it is going to be at Eastern Iowa Community College's downtown on, I think it's October 26th from 1 to 5. I've made it my mission to talk about it because there is very little exposure that these kids are getting right now. And one of the organizing persons is my daughter, and she's gone and spoken at the city council with the mayor. We need to support these kids. We need to talk what they're doing. That's one. 2, all of you here, students, TEDx Youth Talks are happening again in the city. TEDx, being a TEDx speaker is a great line in a resume. Trust me, my daughter did it this year, January 2019. She was one of the TEDx speakers. I want our students to apply for this because last year there were 40 applications. Out of 40, 5 were from Davenport Central. 4 of them have graduated this year. 1 of them is a sophomore, who's my child. I want you guys to apply. She's going to be the speaking coach. It is a world stage that these kids get. They get known for it, and you speak what comes to your mind, of course, within the topic that they have given you to speak. So please go on the web, TEDx Davenport. It's a local thing. Talk, share. We need to do that. Lastly, the reason I bring this up, I don't want you to be burdened with this, but the reason I bring this up is because our social media, Davenport District social media, has not been updated since August 1st. Facebook last post is August 1st, and Twitter is June 22nd. And the districts that are around us are updating it almost. They have 4 to 5 posts. We need to toot our horn, as people say. We need to show off what we are doing, and we're not doing that right now. Another excellent thing that happened was a group of students from, again, and the reason I bring Davenport Central, as you know, because my daughter is there, and I know you all do great things too. A group of students from Davenport Central had the opportunity to attend an international conference at St. Ambrose just last month. And they met with a Liberian activist who is a Nobel Prize winner. She brought our students on stage to talk to them, an opportunity not everyone gets. And these students got it. But we don't know about it because there's nothing that's coming out. There's nothing that is being talked about. So that's one. And lastly, I would like to say, congratulations on the Green Ribbon Program. My request is, if that document is open, is it something that it could be shared as an email blast with the parents? Because we cannot put it on social media at this moment in time. I would love to know it. And the reason I bring this up is because I, yes, a parent of a sophomore, but I'm also on the board of Davenport Library, and we work very strongly with Davenport School District when it comes to various reading programs. I would love to share this with my colleagues on the board there as well. How can we help, again, in this huge endeavor where we've got an award? I would like to know more about it, to share it with my colleagues. So I end by saying that please, 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 I know we are working with TAC Communications to get us online. Let's get it done, because every second counts. And I want us to be out there, and these beautiful things happening are not being showcased anywhere. So let's do that. And please, please apply. December 1st is the last date, and this is the way I want to get it out, because I can't share it anywhere on Facebook of the district or Twitter. So that was all. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Melanika. And our last speaker tonight is Rogers Kirk.
First of all, let me say good evening to everyone, to our superintendent. I haven't had an opportunity to meet you. I want to say again, I want to say to you, welcome. Board president, to all of the members of the board. I want to thank you so very much for allowing me this opportunity to share with you. And I want to come for two reasons. The main reason I want to come just to tell you thank you is so many of I've heard say tonight already. We thank you for the decision that you made to allow this organization together, making a better community, voted to allow them to purchase the Lincoln School. But I think that one of the things is that so many people, even you, some of you guys, don't know the history of the church as it relates to the school, all the things that we have done over the years. In 1992, the Third Missionary Baptist Church, in partnership with the Davenport schools, we had one of the first summer programs that was working out of the Third Missionary Baptist Church, where the Third Missionary Baptist Church, of its own funds from the members, we spend thousands and thousands of dollars paying individuals to teach the summer program, which was a success. It went so well that the school said that they would do it, and it did not go forward. In partnership, the next year, we partnered with the Y and the Davenport School, and we did an after-school program. That program went well. We had supporters. At that time, Dick Bittner was alive, and the Becknell Trust, and as I said, school and well as Y. We would pick up kids from the various schools and bring them to Third Baptist, where we would feed them. We was in partnership with St. Ambrose because they would now bring tutors there to work with them. That program worked extremely well. And we've been doing things as a church as it relates to our community. We've done parenting programs, which was outstanding because our parents need help as well. This affords us the opportunity to live out what the name is, together making a better community. No one entity can do it all by themselves. We can reach some, but there are so many that falls through the cracks. We truly believe that the model that we have set of coming together in one place with parenting, we will start a leadership academy, and there's so many other things that's already on the drawing board and already developed partners with them. I talked with the chief the other day. There's a program that's out now called Safe Communities as it relates to kids on weekends where they come to a place. Now, we did this. This is nothing new. We did this with the Y, that Saturday Night Live. But this gives us an opportunity to bring this back. We talk about all of the problems that our young people are having in our community. A lot of it because they don't have anything to do that really absolutely appeal to them. They don't have the models that they need, or they don't have them all together in one place. This gives us opportunity because, as you know, Lincoln is a big place. This gives us an opportunity to put everything under one roof. So you got the Leadership Academy, you have other partners working together. We've talked to so many of them, and they have already signed up to be a part of this program. And so, well, and I just want to say thank you, because as the time that we're living in now, people are putting money over people. And you're saying that we really value our kids, we value our community. It's not just one side of community, but it's our whole community. As the preacher said from Rock, it's all of us together. Because if we're gonna win, it's gonna take all of us. While the juvenile justice is looking at how we can better equip, build jails, and house our juveniles and things of that nature, no one is really saying, what can we do to be more preventative in solving this issue to help them to thrive and to grow and to be better citizens in our community? So what you've done, you have opened the door in order that this community will grow and this community will thrive to be the best place. In closing, I remember a few years ago meeting with Dr. Tate. Dr. Tate was sharing with a group of people that the school was going to be sold, and his desire was that it would go to a nonprofit community-based organization, that it could be used for our community. Well, he's not here, but this board undoubtedly felt the same way. And I believe that our present superintendent feels the same way, that how we can better utilize this building to solve so many of the issues that we face in our community. And I want to close again by telling you, I guess I'm a preacher and we can close 3 times. But I just want to close by telling you, you know, found from the bottom of our heart, our congregations and people in our community, you know, as many negative things I've seen in the paper, I've gotten so many positive phone calls from individuals in our community just saying, go, we're behind you, we're supporting the efforts of making this community a better place. And again, President, thank you so very much. Superintendent, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Pastor Kirk. Excuse me. Why don't you ask Superintendent? Sorry, we have a little technical question here. I wanted to thank all of you who came up to speak at the open forum. Brenda, Reverend Schuler, Michael, Pastor Perkins, Tracy, Carrie, Melanika, and Pastor Kirk. You know, it's really fascinating to sit up here and to listen to your passionate appeals for these important issues that you bring to us. And I really wish that all of you could experience it. You students, you're really, really important. There's some issue you want to talk about. You know, we talk about it's time for members of the community to give input at a board meeting regarding school district issues or concerns. If you think it's something that's a district issue, and maybe it isn't, maybe it's school lunch, you know, but it really is important, as Melanika mentioned also, taking those opportunities to speak is big, and it's kind of hard to come up here and talk for a couple of minutes, and but here you aren't graded, and you may have something that people really, really need to hear. And your words are really important. Some of the issues that were discussed tonight that were brought to the board are things the board may not have considered in the way that they were presented. So I wanted to encourage all of you to seriously consider. Tonight we had several open forum requests. Typically we don't have that many. I'd say we usually have 2 or 3 on the average. But your words are so important. And I just wanted to thank you again for having what it takes to come up here and present your thoughts. And I want to encourage all of you to always think about that. We have open forum at every regular board meeting. We have another type of a meeting called Committee of the Whole, which is just a discussion by the board, which we don't allow public comment at that. But you have the opportunity once or twice a month. Did you figure out what you needed to with Mary?
For the most part. Superintendent report.
Well, this is next. Who is?
So he's not going to call it out.
Where is Mary? Oh. Excuse me. The technical issue that is being discussed is with respect to the next item, which is the consent agenda, which is 6.01. We'll move on with 602, 3, and 4, and we'll see if they get 6.01 resolved, and we'll come back to it. So we'll move on to 6.02. No, excuse me, that's actually part of the consent agenda. We have to actually move down to, just a minute.
No. So all these people are waiting for this next vote. Or at least everybody in red.
Then right away.
He says he doesn't want to discuss. See what I started? He says he doesn't want to discuss. So I'm like, go somewhere, pull something out. I started with one thing that I shouldn't have started with.
I can do it prior to doing the motion. I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Right, right. Tell me exactly what it is.
I started with
Okay, but I don't have that here.
No, you have it on your computer, but it's Ruben Moore.
I understand, but I can't get into it right now.
Oh, he can't. He's fighting a battle he's not quite here. He's like I don't know, you call him police, I'm a security guy anymore. Dan wants to pull it. And I don't know if he can. I don't know if we can. It's a termination. It's not an appointment. What's going on? I know, they do. I'm sure they do. Williams? Maybe. I think I did.
I'm just gonna pull it.
I'm going to tell you, you're just going to pull it off.
Okay. All right. Okay. I have enough information. We'll go back to the consent agenda. There was a technical question about one name. The name is Ruben Moore. And I'm going to remove that name from the consent agenda, so there will be no consideration of Ruben Moore within the consent agenda. Other than that, the rest of the consent agenda is as written. Now, may I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Mr. President,
Director DeSalvo.
I move that the board approve the consent agenda as written, excluding what you just mentioned of Mr. Moore.
All right. Thank
Second.
you. Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, we'll call for the vote. Director Beck,
Yes.
Oh, you had a, I apologize. Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
No doubt. No doubt.
Come on.
I said yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the approval of bills?
Mr. President,
Director DeSalvo.
I move that the board approve, oh, hold on, I'm sorry. That the board approve the following resolution as recommended by administration for adoption of the bills from the bill listing periods of September 19th, 2019 through October 9th, 2019 with the following voided check. Number 365124, payable to Reinhardt Food Service in the amount of $115,003.49. It was the wrong amount. Resolved, all claims presented to the board having been duly certified as correct by the secretary, reviewed by the administration and board members, and they are hereby audited and allowed as just claims and warrants drawn on the treasury for the several amounts. Further resolved, the payment of claims and salaries be approved as presented for the periods of September 19th, 2019 through October 9th, 2019 with the following voided check. Number 365124, payable to Reinhardt Food Service in the amount of $115,003.49. It was the wrong amount.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All right, call for the vote. Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. President. And let me begin with a thank you to Mrs. S. I don't know if she's still in the audience or if she left, but she must have taken a sneak peek at my notes because I wanted to report to the Board of Education that we've been successfully transitioning to our new communications firm, TAG Communications. We've had a number of meetings to set up the ground rules of how we're going to act interact not only internally, but also with our external audiences to include intergovernmental agencies, as well as our parents and our broader community. And we will be rolling out the plan to you in very short order, and I think you'll be very excited, given that it's very comprehensive and very robust. So I do agree there's been a bit of a void since the summer, but that will be filled very soon. And we're very confident that the strategic nature we're taking in developing our communication protocols will be very pleasing to you and will certainly accentuate all the good work that's taking place in the district and celebrate the success that we all know that we've come to expect. So that is coming. Two other items that I have before I get to my SBRC meeting for tomorrow. The Agenda Committee asked me to clarify two items that were put forward as board requests on September 23rd. The first was a request from Director Hayes regarding Policy 4.3 and granting credit for experience for subs when they come on and receive a contract, potentially receive a contract from the district as an employer. I'll read to you just the very first sentence, which I think makes it very clear and from a clarification standpoint. Upon initial employment or reemployment and submission of satisfactory evidence of up to 20 years of credit shall be given for previous contract teaching. Contract teaching means you were a teacher under a contract. That's the way our policy reads. Typically, subs are not under contract. And that's generally the protocol that I'm familiar with. Contract teaching is far different than subbing. Our subs do wonderful work with our students, but our regular classroom teachers are the ones that plan all the lessons, grade all the papers, do all that work, and I think there was obviously a deliberate thought process in going with contract teaching in that contract language. So if we were to offer a contract to a prospective employee, we would not grant them service for substitute teaching, because somewhere along the way, and I wouldn't disagree with this, we didn't equate substitute teaching with contracted teaching, which obviously involves a lot more work than just coming in and working with our kids. It's good work, it's hard work, but it's not the full breadth of work that a typical contracted classroom teacher has to have. So that's the clarification on that language. The other clarification is regard to a request from Director Gosa. We have, since that September 23rd meeting, we have ordered not only no loitering signs in the ADA section of Bradley Street Stadium, but we've also ordered stenciling that we will have on the ground and on the fencing, so it'll be patently obvious to individuals that that's not a section to hang out in, so that any individuals who fall under ADA will have full viewing opportunities at Brady Street Stadium. We've also alerted our school staff supervision to include security to make sure that that section is policed, and that signage alone usually doesn't solve the problem. So we'll make sure that the administrative team is aware of that. The other piece to the same request was, should we have students wear ID badges at the stadium? We feel a better solution is to have a more proactive approach with supervision of our student section. Only allowing students to have, our students with their IDs would really inhibit a lot of guests that come to our stadium. We have to admit that when people come to watch a football game, people know each other, and some people will cross over to say hello to friends, and we just have to make sure that they're doing so in a way that is good, has good intentions. And we think that's the better solution, is to basically have our security staff and our supervision on hand just to keep an eye on what's happening, and as opposed to students wearing ID badges, which odds are they'll forget to bring it. Whatever the case is, it's something that would be a little bit onerous, and it would be hard for us to be walking around and monitoring to see who has their ID badge on and who keeps it on. So I think the task manageability of that is somewhat problematic. So those are my reports on those two items. The last item I have that I would like to report to the board and to the community, as everyone is probably aware, we have a session in front of the school budget review committee tomorrow. I'm excited for the opportunity to meet these individuals. I'm a little anxious for the outcome, quite honestly, with you. As you know, we've presented the documents that the board has approved that we have submitted to the SBRC. It quite frankly has not hit the mark in terms of what we anticipated from previous budget cycles. Knowing that this year's budget cycle, we've made quite a bit of expenditure reductions that aren't yet reflected in the data, but the previous data has not met expectations. My goals are really twofold tomorrow. One is to be open, honest, and transparent with the SBRC. I want them to know that everything that I know from my chair as the superintendent, they know. And the other piece is to build a relationship of trust, where if we say these are the numbers that we anticipate we're going to have, these are the changes we are going to make in our systems approaches, that they have full faith and confidence in us that we're going to follow through on those. So it's a relationship building piece for me, but at the same time, I will acknowledge we have a lot of work to do when it comes to our budgetary issues that we have. We're taking those very seriously, and whatever the SBRC tells us we must do tomorrow, I will report back to the board, and we will do it. Whatever those action steps happen to be, we'll pull that together. So it's an important day, and I'm looking forward to reporting back to you the outcomes of that. So, Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to other items requiring action. May I have a motion approving the application to the SBRC?
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move that the board approve the application to the SBRC for the modified supplemental for excess costs of the LEP program in the amount of $1,359,210.73, or as determined by the Iowa Department of Education following Department of Education audit review, in order to provide 100% spending authority for the 2019 actual ELL English Language Learner program costs.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Director DeSalvo.
When do we find out if they approve this, Claudia?
This is on their agenda for their December meeting, and it's one of the somewhat automatic amounts that a lot of districts are granted.
I have one more question. We're way off the mark on this. Do you have any supporting information about why this is higher?
A lot of it is calculated from the data that we submit on our certified annual report, which was submitted the middle of September. And they take a lot of the data from that and from our student information system to determine the number of students that we had and our costs for that that exceed our weighted amount. Last year it was about 1.2 million. This year it was about 1.3 million.
That's all I have. That's it. Thank you.
Director Beck.
Just a follow-up to that. If it's, I mean, I guess it seems like we should know that this is this just, why wouldn't we be granted the spending authority for this in advance, I guess, if we know it's going to be over $1 million?
That's not the way the state funding works.
Okay.
It's just the nature of it that after we incur those costs that exceed our weighting, then we're granted the spending authority.
Okay. Thanks.
Anything else? Director Hayes.
Claudia, just a quick question. Does this have any bearings on our current deficit that we have now? Will it be added to that?
Actually, this helps. They will grant us this amount of spending authority, so that reduces our negative amount in total.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? And Director Gosa, on all of these, I'm just assuming you'll jump in when you need to. This is one I've always questioned. I don't like the way that the funding formula is set up because my understanding is that they don't have to grant this. They kind of do as a matter of course. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And so they could say, too bad, we don't have enough money or whatever, and we're just going to disallow that. That's correct too, right?
Partially. They don't actually fund us. They don't give us the money. They give us the spending authority. The cash is coming out of our cash reserve levy.
But nonetheless, they could deny it. And I don't understand that. We do spend the money. We're trying to do our best to serve the students, but we can't get our legislature to correct this anomaly, I guess I would call it, that disallows us from doing this in what I would think is a correct way. And I guess from an accounting perspective, would you run an accounting system that you aren't sure of whether or not, when you spend $1 million, that you aren't sure if you're going to get compensated for it?
Not in typical accounting.
Right. Okay. So I don't know if there's anything we can do, but for those of you that, when we talk about various things, we do have a legislative advocacy committee also on the board, and it has contributed to changes in state law, and it's a long, hard slog to go and talk with legislators and try to get something done. And some of this has taken us probably 15 years, I suppose, something like that, just to finally get a small recognition. Maybe this isn't important because they generally will grant it, but it still seems wrong to me. Anyway, any other discussion by the board? Okay. Call for the vote. Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. May I have a motion regarding approval of a contract for hearing interpreter services?
Mr. President,
Director Potts.
I move that the board approve the recommendation of the contract with the Mississippi Bend AEA for hearing interpreter services as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. Call for the vote. Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. May I have a motion regarding approval of Boys and Girls Club lease?
Mr. President,
Director Hayes.
I move that the board accept administration recommendation and approve the lease for an additional space at J.B. Young for the Boys and Girls Club of Mississippi Valley in the amount of $8,715 annually, and authorize the board president and secretary to execute the necessary documents.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. Call for the vote. Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion regarding approval of the Iowa Association of School Board legislative priorities?
Mr. President,
Director DeSalvo.
I move that the board approve the Iowa Association of School Board legislative priorities as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Director DeSalvo.
I would just like to say that these are really good priorities, and the IASB is a huge voice for our schools throughout the state, and I wholeheartedly support what they're trying to do for us, and we have a great relationship, and I'm glad we're back in the organization, and these things are going to help us a great deal, so we need to support them when they send us notes and they need our help and they have questions or they need someone to represent. I hope this board will continue that support because these are really important, and I think I approve very much so.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Yeah, I wanted to mention, I'm not sure how many total districts there are in the state now. It's probably around 330. But the IASB probably serves around 329. So they do have a lot of clout, and they're working with our legislature almost every day, and so they're trying to bend their ears, trying to again do what's best for students and for districts. Any other discussion? Okay. Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion regarding approval of the board calendar?
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move that the board approve the 2019-20 board calendar of meetings as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. I'll call for the vote. Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Mayfield,
Yes.
Director DeSalvo,
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move into discussion items, and we only have one discussion item, and that is the Phase 2 update.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to alert the board that back in July, the district submitted as part of our plans for our citations, the district developed service delivery plan for special education. As I mentioned, that plan was submitted in July. We've received feedback from the Department of Education on that plan just in the last 2 days. They've asked for just some small changes to that particular document, and they've given us until November 1st to make those changes within the document. So I will have that in front of you for your review at the end of the month to take a peek at, but nothing of substance. They're more technical changes and suggestions, keeping in mind that the document that we used to develop the service delivery plan was a template that was provided to us by the Department of Education. So we will make whatever tweaks to their template that they suggested for us. So I didn't intend for that to be humorous, but I guess it turned out that way on that one.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Two other pieces. I just want you to know that we have 2 upcoming citations that we're working very diligently on. Our training on the continuum of placement or continuum of service based on the document that I just described. We need that document approved, but we're certainly taking a look and implementing the professional development to our staff so that they have an understanding of what that continuum of service looks like and how it should be implemented based on our service delivery plan. So that is currently in place, and we're ready to submit that prior to December. We also have a January 31st deadlines for both our affirmative action plan as well as our equal employment opportunity plan. We're knee-deep. I've been involved in those conversations already, and I'm pleased to say that we're ahead of schedule in our not only in our conversations, but in our planning, and we will have something to you. And again, our goal is always to submit documents to the Department of Education more than a month in advance of their due date. This way, if there is any tweaking or changes, we can do that and still meet whatever the original deadline is. So everything is still on schedule, and I have a conversation every couple weeks with the director just to make sure that we're on schedule with all of this. And I had a pleasant conversation this morning suggesting that the tweaks that we're making to our service delivery plan are minor and that we should be good to go by November 1st. And that concludes my Phase 2 audit update.
Any discussion? Wow. The one thing that I would say is that I hearken back to the Phase 1 and what happened there with communication. And I think that from my perspective, it's really important to have a comprehensive view of every citation, who's working on it, and when is it going to be completed. And we've talked about the idea of a Gantt chart, and I was under the impression that the department was going to be developing something that would provide at least that kind of information. And so it's a little bit frustrating to not have that. I think we had a kind of a rough cut at a Gantt chart early on. But it was, like I say, it was more rough cut. And I'm still wondering whether we can get something that's more precise.
Mr. President, I could share once again with the board that outlines all the elements that you described in terms of the citations themselves, who's working on them, what are the due dates. That format in terms of the spreadsheet we've shared with the Board of Education, and you can see all of that in previous documents. It just hasn't been translated into a formal Gantt chart. That information is embedded in that document. It's just from a format standpoint, it doesn't resemble a Gantt chart. But I'll ask again.
And perhaps there's a better method. I'm not saying Gantt is the best. It's just, it's a normal way to express these kinds of activities in, in business organizations. And part of the reason that because the board was admonished for its lack of oversight on some of that information, that all of those things that occurred during phase one. And that was really, really hard to accept that, because some of the information that the board received was not, and I'm not talking about received from our district, but I think that some of the information that the board received didn't support some of the things that were happening, and then by April 23rd, it was a big deal. So I just want to make absolutely certain. And last year, I mean, up until I think we were within 1 day of complying with the April 23rd date, that we had to have everything done. And we accomplished almost everything. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Any other discussion on this item? If not, we will adjourn the the discussion items. Are there any administrative reports?
No.
Okay. I do have 3 board requests, and one of them is from me. I haven't written it yet, but I'll express it. First one is from Director Gosa. Today's date, he requests an agenda item. Can the decision for moving to a traditional calendar be reconsidered? Please explain how the change will save money, and I would like more feedback from parents, students, and teachers before implementing this change. He doesn't indicate why he's requesting it, but is there a second?
Second.
And he didn't indicate when, but I'll put down as soon as reasonably possible. Next is from Director Hayes, dated today. Information request. The board voted to approve transportation savings. However, we were not aware that it was at the expense of cutting a route and leaving an entire area without service. Why are you requesting this information? I'm requesting this information to see what we can do to rectify the situation. Those children cross 5 lanes of traffic to get to school, and I'm not wanting it to turn into a safety issue. Is there a second?
Second.
When would you like this information? ASAP. And the last one I'll write when we're done here from Director Johansson. Date of request, October 14th. And I would make it an agenda item, and I would like the board to consider adding another a priority that would be focused on energy sustainability, that kind of stuff. And I'm requesting this because I really think energy is a big deal. And I think the board should consider highlighting energy as part of its priorities and allow it to think about energy when it makes its decisions. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. And when would you like this information or agenda item? When reasonable. All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.